everybody. So it's super late at night, but I saw an opportunity to teach you guys something that could be really useful, and decided to share my misery with you and show you how I'm going to help it out. So a little bit ago, I was up late after midnight cleaning my kitchen before I was going to go to bed. I don't have to work tomorrow thanks to COVID-19. So I was staying up a little late. Anyway, I was making myself a cup of tea, or reheating a cup of tea in my microwave. And I forgot that I had reheated it and went and pushed the button and reheated it again. And this cup got so hot that when I grabbed that handle with this hand, I burnt the ever-living you-know-what out of myself. So I ran it under cold water for like almost 10 minutes. And then I started to clean the kitchen again and realized that it was a much worse burn than I thought it was originally. And my hand was on fire and stinging like crazy. So I decided I needed to do a little bit more than just running it under cold water. So I grabbed this like drink ice thing out of the freezer to put ice on it. It's really important when you have a burn to immediately like put cold on it and leave cold on it for quite some time. That is what will keep you from blistering when you have a burn. But I want to take it a step further than that. So I have this amazing plant in my apothecary and everyone should have it. And if you have a garden, it's really easy to grow, especially here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it's an amazing plant that is super cooling. It's marshmallow root, or Althea officinalis. And it's an amazing plant. The root is, if it's extracted properly, it's extremely cooling and drawing, and it gets very, very mucilaginous, which is really healing to the skin, the epithelial tissue of your skin. So I had some marshmallow root. So the first thing I did after I grabbed this thing was I put a couple tablespoons of marshmallow root in a pint-sized jar and put it in my freezer. Usually I would put it in the fridge and leave it there for a couple of hours if I was making a marshmallow root tea or extract. But instead I just went ahead and put it in the freezer to start that process going and shook it a whole bunch. Now it's in my fridge and it's been there for probably like 45 minutes. Ideally, when you make marshmallow root tea, you would leave it in there for hours and it would get really almost gloopy. But I don't have hours right now. I have to do something for my hand and I have to go to bed, and it's kind of an emergency situation. So I will extract some of that in this short amount of time out into the water. Marshmallow root is a plant that you always want to do a cold extraction of. Heat will destroy the mucilaginous properties of it if you get it too hot. So I always do a cold extraction of marshmallow root. If I'm adding it to syrups, I'll decoct and infuse the herbs that I need to decoct and infuse in a hot teapot or in simmering water. But if I'm using marshmallow as a portion, I'll make its own separate tea and put it in the refrigerator. So it's a cold extracted herb. So I had marshmallows, so that went in the refrigerator. I have aloe, so I cut a piece of aloe, and that has gone into the refrigerator too to make it really, really cold, so it's nice and soothing. And I also have honey. So I am gonna blend these three things together, and I'm gonna soak sterile pads in them to put on my hand and tape around that burn. Ideally, you would soak gauze in them so that you could wrap the gauze around it if it was a hand burn or somewhere else, an arm burn if you're like cooking something that's greasy and you get a really bad arm burn. Ideally it would be gauze, but I don't have any gauze in the house. I have sterile pads and tape, so that's what I'm going to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do real quick, and I'm going to do everything with one hand, which is kind of crazy. Here is that marshmallow root extract or tea, that infusion that I was talking about, and it's still got the marshmallow roots in it. And my piece of aloe. And so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strain, and I'm just gonna make enough right now to do one gauze pad. And then I'll leave the rest of that marshmallow root in there and put it in the fridge so I get a nice good marshmallow root extraction tomorrow that I can rechange that gauze out if I need to and put on it. So I'm going to put that down for a minute, and the pain is going to start like almost instantly. So I have a reusable coffee filter. So I'm just going to pour just a little bit of this through the reusable coffee filter and let it strain down there. So I have just a little bit of that marshmallow root tea, and you can see it's not the color of water anymore, so it's extracted. It's already, here I'll show you closer. You can see it's already extracted parts from the plant. It's not quite as gloopy and mucilaginous as I would like the liquid to be ideally, but for this situation it's great, and it's already extracted all the goodness that's going to help my hand. So that's there, so I'm going to put that back in the fridge. And then I have my aloe. So we'll let that strain a little bit more. There's still some liquid in there. And I have my aloe. So I'm going to slice my aloe. Make sure not to cut myself after burning myself. And try not to go through, I'm not doing a very good job at it, but try not to go through all the way to the other side. Then I'm going to open, I didn't do a very good job. I'm going to open this aloe up, and all of that inside of the aloe, all this fleshy gelatinous stuff is aloe gel and aloe juice, and it's really good stuff, and it's super healing for the skin, and it's also very cold and drawing. So when you have a burn, you want to draw the heat out of the burn to keep it from blistering and to make it feel better. So that's what aloe juice does, and that's what marshmallow root does, is they're very drawing and drawing of heat. They're cooling. So I'm going to put some of this aloe. I actually saved the rest of it for some hand sanitizer because you can't buy pre-done aloe right now. So I'm just going to scrape all that gloopy aloe gel off into the bowl. And as it warms up, it's going to get like slimier. Super slime. So put some of that aloe gel in there. I think I'm going to get a little bit more. And another way to do this is to squeeze it out. I never have as much luck squeezing it out. I mean, it works, but it's kind of difficult. I find it better to just scrape it all out. Although I just squeezed this, so I don't know if it's going to come apart very easily. But you can like push it off with your hands too. Do that. So I want to get like a tablespoon probably of this aloe gel, which I am almost there. This is super messy. Super messy. Plant medicine can be messy. So that's about a tablespoon. I'm going to take some of what's on there and go ahead and rub that onto my burn. It's not really, you can't really tell too bad, but you see how red it is along here? My other palm is not that red at all, and it's just like all the way up here, and it stings really bad. So I'm kind of going to wipe off my hands just a little bit. It's not off that part of my hand. I mean, it is on fire. I think I did enough cold water and enough ice that it's not going to blister, but it is on fire, and it looked like it was going to blister at first. Okay, so I have that aloe gel in the bowl, just a little bit, and I'm going to pour a dab of honey. Honey is also very drawing, and it is one of the most amazing products, natural products from a bee that you could possibly use for a burn. Honey is like what you eat, anything you ever do for any type of burn should have some honey in it. So I'm going to put just a little dab of honey in there, and then I'm going to put just, oh my gosh, it burns so bad. I'm going to put a little bit of that marshmallow juice tea in there, and I'm going to blend all of this up and stir it up. I'm going to take my ice back because it hurts, and stir stir it up until it's all mixed together. And you might kind of have to, aloe is going to be some fleshier aloe in it. It's not wanting to do that, but and stir that up, and I'm actually going to pour a little bit more of the marshmallow juice because I really want to soak this gauze in it. So all my marshmallow and my honey is blended, and the aloe is kind of blended. It's kind of gelatinous in there. Sorry, that's probably really, really loud. I'm going to take my gauze pad. I'm actually going to take 2 of them, or sterile pad. Should probably get my tape going first. But I'm going to take one of the sterile pads, and I am going to soak it in that solution. So I have this like aloe and marshmallow root tea and honey syrup, and I'm going to soak that pad all the way through till it gets super soaked with that solution. And then I'm going to have this one. This one's going to go, you can fold these sterile pads out. So if this is all you had too, you can fold it out. So this is going to go on the top. So there's a sort of dry space to do the tape around. So I have this soaking in here, and I'm going to kind of let it drip off some. I don't want all that liquid and honey and stuff just like oozing, because marshmallow is kind of sugarish too, and it could get sticky. So I don't want it to all just be oozing off. Some of it's going to ooze down my hand. Herbalism can be messy. Wait till I have y'all put onions on your ears or on your chest. It can be messy, but so I've got that soaked. I'm going to fold it in half so it's about the size of my burn. Here's my thing. I'm going to put it on my burn like that. So it's like a little sterile pad poultice. And then I'm going to put this around it. And then I'm going to tape my hand. I'm starting to make a mess. Tape there. Now I'm going to tape it onto my hand, and I'm going to tape it pretty tight because like I don't really want to feel what's going on in my hand very much. So it's kind of oozing. It's kind of crazy. It's going to get on my pants. But this is a quick, like, most people have aloe. If you do not have marshmallow root, that's one thing. But a lot of people have aloe. A lot of people grow aloe. They don't even use it, but they grow it because it makes a nice house for them. And so a lot of you have aloe, and a lot of you have honey in your kitchens. So that's something that you could do. You could do the same thing with just the aloe, mixing the aloe and the honey together. Or if you had aloe juice in your house, a lot of people drink aloe juice. If you had aloe juice, or even coconut water, you could do a little coconut water and a little honey and a little aloe together. And because coconut water is also very cooling. And you could mix those together and create a poultice for a burn. So I might need to adjust this a little bit. So I will show y'all, maybe show you another video tomorrow, and we'll see, or at least update y'all and let you know how my hand feels, and we'll see if I blister. I don't think I'm going to though. So yeah, there's my sticky, crazy hand, and y'all have a good night. Hopefully you don't burn yourselves in your kitchen, but it happens. So yeah, have a good night.